Meditation Master JinBodhi's Dharma teachings, seeing through, the only way to letting go. Well, please be seated. Sometimes we need to assume we're a good, noble, magnanimous, and compassionate person. Even a rogue can imagine that he is a good person. Okay, this way we start changing and commit less wrongdoing. Self-reminding is actually enlightenment. Self-reminding is actually enlightenment, right? If you, on any occasion, be it in public or with your family, think you're a bad person with this negative thought, many negative emotions and things may easily arise. The opposite is true if we think, I'm a good person. When there are conflicts in the family, think of yourself as an open-minded good person. Even though you're actually narrow-minded, think, I'm most compassionate and my heart is as wide as the ocean. My heart is as vast as the sky and expands boundlessly. Maybe thinking this way, you'll feel you're truly as good as the Buddha. You'll truly forgive others' mistakes and avoid an unnecessary dispute. Perhaps even a divorce, right? This self-reminder, in fact, is also called self-liberation. No one in this world can help you break free. What you've heard are others' words. The book you read is others' words too, not your own ideas, but the concept of human wisdom. Is being good at learning. What we've learned, we'd keep it in our heart. We can start to use it. Being able to apply knowledge is better than just learning it. The best is its application. When learning painting, students are first taught to copy. What is meant by copy? It's to imitate. Say someone has already completed his work. What you do is trace it. Right? This is much better than a closed book exam. I really dislike that kind of test. When learning many things, we need to copy first. This is true of meditation, martial arts, dance, painting, and even foreign languages. We learn through imitating or plagiarizing others, right? Everyone keeps quiet when the word plagiarism is used. It's simply a choice of word. It's just copying. We aren't thinking in legal terms. Legally, if you quote a professor, you should indicate the source to respect the author. But learning is essentially imitating. To learn from me is to imitate some material I've spoken about. Roughly, it's like this. Such self-reminding is very helpful to us. When things happen, it's impossible to search for answers from books. You may not find a book in a hurry, or you may be out with no book available. Learn to integrate knowledge into your wisdom. In application, learn to self-liberate. Such a method is easy. Just think of yourself as a broad-minded, compassionate, wise and sincere person, even though you're a swindler. When a swindler thinks he's a sincere, moral person, he'll start changing for the better. He'll do less cheating. Start to be soft-hearted and less ruthless.
不会出手太狠，不会
He'll
把人
limit his
骗得
cheating.
没办法吃饭。
Our
所以我们
learning of
学习
higher
这
level
个
personal
这
conduct
个更高境界的做人的那种规则，
implies all of
我们
us
说明一
aren't
点，
good
在座
people.
的都不是好人。
Do you
你们同意
agree?
吗？
No?
不太同意。
I
我知道
know
大
it's
家有
hard to
接受难度，
accept.
大家有接受难度，所
So
以慢
we'll
慢地改
reshape
造
and transform
身
ourselves
心
slowly and
慢慢地
humbly
改造自己，
from the
慢慢地
form of
转
a
化
stinky
我
body
们从身体的有形有色有臭气，
to
慢
being
慢地
flawless,
变成洁
attachment-free
白
and
无瑕，
undefiled.
不执不着，到没有污染，它
It
是
needs
需
a
要
slow
一个
cleansing
慢慢地
process
清洗的过程。
to
要让
slowly
我们的
purify
这
our
个
body
身
and
心
mind
慢慢地清净下来，这
is
是
also a purpose
学
of
习
learning meditation.
禅学的一个目的。
Only
也只有
when
清
we're
净下来，
purified and calm
我
can
们
we
才可
recover our
能
health.
疾病在恢复健康，疾病也
Ailments
开
and
始消失，
afflictions start to disappear.
烦恼也开始消失。
People
所以
with
有
divine
天眼的
eye
人一看，
perceive if a
这个
person
人
is pure
洁
white,
白
spotless, pure
无
and
瑕
peaceful.
没有污染，非常的清净。
Many
有人描述这种
analogies
清净，用了
describe
好
such
多好多的
purity.
方法和比喻。比如
For
说
example, the
莲
lotus
花，
flowers,
莲花
lotus's roots
它
and
的根，
stems
它的茎一定是泡在那
are
个
soaked in stagnant
那个
water.
水，通常是不流动的水。
Can we
流动的
find
河流里头
lotuses
有
in the
莲花
running
没有？
rivers?
有
If
的
there
话
is,
放的
it
是
must
塑
be
料，
plastic and without
它没有生
vitality.
命力的。
Real
真正它是一种
lotus
死
grows
水
in
的，死
stagnant
水的
water.
死
At the
水的下
bottom,
面
it's
呢
full of black
是
mud.
通常黑色的泥巴，这个
Rotten
植物
plants
泡
and
烂
mud
了
act
腐
as
烂的那个泥
fertilizer.
巴作为肥料。可是很奇
Strangely,
怪，
when lotuses
那个莲
bloom,
花
they
等
are
开
pure
放之
white,
后又洁白无瑕，
with
还有带一
pinkish
点
lined
点
petal tips.
粉红色的花边，特别的
Especially
美，
beautiful,
可
a
以
noble,
高
pure,
尚
elegant
纯洁高雅
sense of refined.
脱俗的那种感觉就
Just
如一
like a
朵
green
青
lotus.
莲
A
那描
term
述
to
这种
describe
状
this
态
status, passity,
有
light
一个
and
词汇
calm.
叫清安。
When
这
a
个人
person's heart
他的
is pure
心没有污染了，
and
纯净到一
flawlessly
定程
reaching
度的
such
时
a
候，
level, the
那个
sense of
清
light
安
and calm
就开始体
appears.
现了。这次
People
能
who are
参
attending
加这
today's
次
seminar
讲座的人
are
就是内
actually
心
expecting to be
期望着让自己更加健
healthier,
康、
more peaceful,
安详、
joyous, and at
快乐、
ease.
自在，让
We
我们
walk
步
with
伐
brisk
更轻盈
steps.
就
We're
没有
pressure
那
free
种
regardless
不
of
管是经济
financial,
上的还是精
spiritual,
神
or
里
mental
的
state.
那个压力和烦恼都是
We
没
are
有的
affliction free.
走路的时候
Sometimes we
甚至
even
连着带
hop as
套
we
的
walk. This
尤
is
其是很多
especially
年轻
so
的
for
孩子，不管
children,
男的女的，
boys,
走
and
路的时候
girls.
人
They
家
love
觉
to
得
run,
走路
happy and
没意
carefree.
思，他走
Right?
路都是跑的，是不是啊？很多
Many
年轻
young
小孩都
kids
是靠
run.
跑的，就
You
觉得他
feel
心
they're
里
at
是那种
ease,
自在
happy, and
快乐的感
relaxed.
觉，没有压力。
Especially
尤其是刚
those
刚会
toddlers
走
who
路的
take
孩
to
子，
their
一走路就是
legs
跑，
tend to run along
一
like
股
a gust of
风一样
wind,
的，
totally
真的没有
pressure
压
free
力，
and happy
欢
like
快的像
birds.
小鸟一样。这
This
正
is
是
our
我们要追
pursuit.
求的。
How
怎
can
么
we
样才能
achieve
达
such
到这种
serenity and ease,
安详自在那
or
个
free
甚至是
ourselves
从
from the
烦恼
sludge
和
of
污泥之
affliction,
中脱颖而生洁
and still
白
remain
无瑕
flawless, purified,
清净无
immaculate,
染
and noble?
高尚高贵
It's not easy to
是不
achieve.
容易的。
Although
虽然
this
是
is
我
our
们心中
goal,
追
to
求的
get there is very
一种
difficult.
方向，但是达到这个状态真的是好难。
As I
我刚才
mentioned
讲到说
earlier,
包
our
括我们自我
self-reminding or
提醒、自我
self-hinting
暗示
is our
也正是自我解
self-liberation.
脱。那么
Only
只
by
有
letting go of our
让我
inner
们心里
stress
这些压力能够排出去，放得下，
we
你的
can
身
truly be
心
relaxed and
才能
happy,
轻松
body and
快乐。
mind.
我
Our
们的疾
illnesses
病
will
才能
quickly
迅
disappear.
速的就是排出去。
Self-reminding is self-liberation. I always always ask myself difficult questions, always asking, why?
有个问号的东西。
How to get to this best
怎么样才能够
state?
达到这种最佳的状态呢？
Here is a bit of my summary. Some suggest exercising. It's a solution. So is making friends,
也是方法。
having a job, and starting a family.
或者是组建家庭也是重要的。
If a couple can't get along, splitting up is also important. When we encounter afflictions, our purpose is to break free. Marriage isn't our purpose, right? From rags to riches is also liberation. If you're still feeling stuck after striking it rich, you'll be liberated by becoming a pauper again. When a rich person becomes a pauper, he'll be liberated through death.
就死个屁的了，就没命了。对。
How to be truly liberated?
解脱呢？
I'd like to ask some English-speaking friends. The Western world is more
在英文
liberal
的世界里更开放。
in their thinking and tradition.
到传统。
They may provide some amazing insights and
也
views.
许会有令人惊喜的一些叫见地和看法。
How can we be truly liberated?
真正的解脱。
Stop thinking too much.
Stop thinking too much. Is this what you mean?
是吧？
Correct.
停止思考，这个很正确，很正确。
Give up everything, like be nothing. You have to be achieved, not wanting or not holding on to anything.
Have less desire.
少一点得到的欲望不
Be
要
less
贪婪
greedy.
太多这
This
个回答
answer
得
is very
其
good.
实是非常非常好。
Yesterday, I mentioned the meditation states. Can anyone remember?
还有人没记得。
There
我
are
们昨天
four
讲了
meditation
四种
states.
禅的状态。
What's the
第四种
fourth?
是
Samadhi.
定。对
Please
了大家
remember,
记住
we
我们
just
上
had a
次复习一下
review.
我
We
们昨
spoke
天讲
about
了
four
四
meditation states
大
yesterday,
禅的状态，
or
也就是
four
四大
main
级别
levels.
我提醒大家哈，
In
每
each
一个
level
级别之中，因为四个级别嘛，
For
每一个级
ordinary
别
people, it takes a
按照
long
一般人的
time.
修炼，
Even
而且
if
还
you
有
have
师
a
父教
master
导的
to
情况
guide
下
you,
最少
10
的
years
时
is
间应该
needed to
会
pass
10年
each level.
所
To
以想
truly
达到
master
真
it,
正
it
的
takes a long
经过
time.
老师考核的话，是需要很久的时间的，所以
After
修到
reaching the
第四
fourth
个级
level,
别，
assuming
如
you
果不留意
passed the previous
你的
three and you
很
practice
很用功
diligently,
的话，
you'd
也
need
得有
40
40年了，
years,
对不对？
very long.
就是很漫长。但
But
是
by
如果
using
方
a
法不
different
同
method or
我们
shortcut,
走一个比较捷径的方法，也
it
许
may
会
be
快
that less time is required. The
第
fourth
四
state
个
of
大的
meditation,
禅
we
境
call it
我们
Samadhi.
叫做定境，记住哈，定境就是定了，
It's
定了
like a
如同
fake
于
death.
假死好像死了一般。其实人
Actually,
没
the
有死
person is not dead.
有
He's
呼
still
吸
breathing, but
是很
shallowly.
微弱的呼吸，
And
心
his
脏
heartbeat is also slow.
也在跳动，但是跳得很慢就
It's
很
similar
像
to some wild
有
animals
些野生动物
that
冬天有
hibernate
冬
in
眠
winter.
的这个习惯。很多
Bears,
动物
snakes, and
像
turtles
熊
hibernate.
蛇龟它们就有冬眠的习惯。
During
到冬
winter,
天冬眠的时候它那
these
种状
animals
态
are dormant with very
是
slow
不吃
metabolism.
不喝甚至是不上厕所，它
They
处在
stay
一
in a
种
coma-like state.
就像昏迷了一样的状态。但是
However,
不是
it's
昏
not a
迷
coma, but hibernation.
它叫冬眠。
It's
为什么
like
叫
a
眠
deep
它是睡觉
sleep.
对。
But
那
this
当然这个
meditative
禅的状
state
态
is
和
different
冬
from
眠也不太一样
hibernation, though
就
there
是
are
类
some
似
similarities.
类似的状态。
In
这
this
个时候是
state,
没
we
有
have no
思想
thought.
我
Our
们的大
brain
脑
is not
并没有
working.
工作
We
我们的
seem
生命处在
soulless.
一种好像灵魂也没有了。
We're
灵魂
aware of
就
our
是
soul's
我们能感觉到
existence
灵
when
魂
we
存在
think.
的时候，就通常我们能够思考的时候。
Without
但是如果我没有
feelings
感
and
觉到自己
thoughts.
思考了，连
Even
自
the
己说
thought of
我现在
being
是
empty
空的
doesn't exist.
连空的这个意念的本身也不存在了。
At this moment, the state is called Samadhi or state of equanimity. Nothing exists. I gave an example yesterday. Say, I started to meditate at 10 p.m.
开始打坐，10点钟开始打坐。
After I adjusted my posture and breathing,
我感觉到我也调整呼吸呀，调整身体呀，这样。
it felt like I just meditated for an
我
hour.
做了1个小时。
But when I came to and ended my
我当收
practice,
功课醒来的时候，
I
发
found
现
it was 5
我
a.m.
的表是早晨5点钟。 当
When
这种
this
现象发
occurs,
生的时候，
it's
那就是
very likely
出
that
现
I've
了
entered
可
Samadhi.
能的定境。
If
如果
one
一个人
stays in such a
在这
state
种
for
定
3
境之
hours
中
or more,
大约如果能达到3个小时以上，就是你的看到的表，
or
现在
say,
从
starting
10点钟
meditation
后
at
如果
10 p.m. and
早晨
ending
5
at
点钟我才
5
醒过
a.m.,
来，这个
that's
时候已
more
经
than 6
超
hours.
过了几个小时，超
This
过6个小时
person is remarkable.
那这个人不得了啊。
You
你
may
可以
say
给他
he's
一个最
God,
高的
Buddha,
称呼是什么？
a
是神啊，
superhero
佛
or a
啊，
miracle.
超人啊，奇迹啊，
Whatever
你可以
holy
把想的无
titles
论
can
什么
be
神
used to
像架在
honor
他头
him.
上都不以为过。
His
就是他
ability to
的
connect with
对
and
世界
perceive
的
the
沟通
world
和
is
感知已
outstanding.
经超强大了。所以
Even
通
if you
常
can only
当
enter
进
this
入这个
state for
定
2
境
hours,
如果能进去有2个小时，
you're already
真不得
amazing.
了了。关键
Many
很
who
多人修
practice
一
for
辈子
life
禅，
may
从来
not
没进
enter
去。
that state. Many are
还有
unable
更
to
多的
focus, thinking about
人
things,
在一边坐着禅，一
and
边
even
想着
jotting
想
them
着手
down
机。
while meditating.
今
Nowadays,
天
all
手机上都
phones
有录
come
音
with
系
a
统，
voice
我写字
recorder.
太
If
麻
it's
烦
too troublesome to
啊。
write,
想着想
someone
着
may
想着，
record
就
their
想起
action
来了，
items,
一会儿
grocery
买
shopping later,
录音啊，
buy
录
some
上
clothes for the kids.
给小孩子买衣服，录上音。
After half an hour of meditation,
等半个小时做完了，
they
完全
try
在
to recall
在
what
回
they
忆
need
自
to
己想
do.
干什么。这个
This
就
is
不是
not
做禅
meditating.
啊，就
This
是
is
被事
being
物给
bothered
缠
by
绕住了。
daily affairs. It's
所以想
impossible
解
to
脱
be
不可能，
liberated.
又
It's
一
another
层多
layer
了一
of net
层
around you.
丝网把自己缠绕住啊。这
This
个不是
isn't
禅
chanjing,
定，是缠绕。
meditation, it's chanrao, entwining. It's
把自己
binding
绑住了
oneself. It contradicts the practice.
很矛盾的。那
Some
有人
may
会说，
say,
那
I
我也
need
要
to live
生
a
活啊。
life too.
对，
Indeed,
是
it's
生
a
活，
form of living, but of
但
lower
是这是
quality,
比较庸俗的生活而已，
not
不够
noble
那么
enough,
高尚的
not the state
大
of
的解
great
脱状态。
liberation. To
奥
get
美
to the
想达
highest
到那
state,
种最高的境界，它
what's
真
its
正
true
的基础是
foundation?
什么东西呢？
It
是
is
对
our
事物的
understanding
认
of
识。
matters or
我的
truths.
理解啊，是对事物的认识。
Say,
如果说我们只剩举例了哈，
everyone around you is already
人家
married.
都结婚了，我
You're
今年都
36
36岁，
years
我还没
old
有
and
结婚
single.
啊。
Though
我
you're
自
used
己
to being
都习惯
single,
了单身生活，但
your
是
parents and
父
friends
母
are
和
worried
朋友
about you.
都很替我着急，所以
Because
为
of
了他
them,
们，
you feel the
我
urge to get
要结
married.
婚。这
Marriage
个结婚变成一
becomes a
种压
form
力。
of stress.
但
But
是
the
越
more
想结婚
eager
越找
you
不
are,
到
the
合适
harder
的
it
女
is to
朋友，
find a suitable girl.
压
You're
力。
stressed,
就
so
他
you
在那坐禅的
visualize
时候，
while
单身女朋友
meditating.
快
Please
来
come
了，
to
你
me,
在哪
my
里？
dear girl, where are you? Are
那
you
这样的状
peaceful in
态，
such a state?
你的心是平静的吗？不
No,
平
you're
静，
disturbed and
躁动。
restless.
一
When
个外
external
在压
pressure
力，
clashes with
内在的
internal
荷尔蒙，
hormones,
这
you
两
end
个
up
坏蛋
suffering.
同时夹击，哎呀，最受罪的是你自己啊，痛
You'll
苦不
feel
堪。
pain and
你说我
agony.
痛苦死了，我怎么
Why
还没找
haven't
到
I
女
found
朋
a
友
girlfriend
啊？
yet?
痛苦
More
还在后
suffering
头
will follow.
啊，最关键
Imagine
你到
at
66岁还找不
66,
到，
an age when many are
都当
grandfathers.
爷爷的辈分上了，还没找
You've
到女
not
朋友
found a girlfriend
啊，
yet.
再找的
If
话
you
娶进
finally
来
get married,
啊，
you
这种人一
probably
般是没
wouldn't
有
have
婆婆。
parents in law. A
66岁再结婚的
66-year-old
人，
man marrying a
娶一个67岁的女
67-year-old
人，
woman. The
通常
good
好处
thing,
是
there
没有
is
婆婆管
usually
教，
no
没有
mother-in-law
婆婆的压
issue,
力。
though that pressure doesn't
但是
exist.
新
A
压
new
力来
pressure
了，
comes,
过
you've
了生
passed
育
fertile
期，
years.
我
When
们
we
的
can't
心
see
不
through
看透这
issues,
一切啊，不看透这一切，几
we
乎
won't
所
be
有的事情我
liberated.
们都不能解脱，
We
都
may
会
end
引
up
发
with
我们
more
的烦恼。
afflictions.
婚
Marriage,
姻也好，
children, house,
子女也好，
clothes.
到你住房子去供房子、买房子也好，哎，
And
甚
beauty
至
essentials.
有钱没钱的买适当的衣服， 化妆品也好，
are the
都是人生
typical
更大的
necessities
追
we
求和追
pursue.
求
How shall I describe?
就是有一个人照镜子，
It's like a blurry image of someone looking into a mirror. He decides to play a trick on the child next to him.
啊，
He
他在
made
镜
an
子侧
ugly
面做出
face.
鬼脸，
The child saw the
小
ugly
孩子在
image
镜
in
子
the
里看到
mirror.
哇
So
一看见好
scary,
恐怖
he shouted.
哇，大喊一声，啊，
A
胆子小
timid
的
one may
吓
burst
哭了
into tears. The
吓唬
man
人
steps
吓唬人
forward
的
and
人就是这样啊
apologizes.
对不起
I'm
对不起，我是
sorry.
在做
I
鬼
was
脸啊，
making an ugly
镜子里
face
边
in the
我
mirror.
一
Are
眼
you
就看
afraid
了，
of the me in the mirror?
那个是
That's
虚
not a
假的
real
我，
person.
就
All
是
the
镜子里
scary
我做了
faces
任
and
何
images I
恐怖
make
的和难看的表情，其实
before
它
a
是假
mirror
的。
aren't real.
但
But if the mirror
如
is
果
of
镜
good
子做得很
quality,
平整的话，这
the
个假
images
象
in
像
it
真
look
的一样，
real.
对不对？哎，尤其
Right.
是华人，从他的
Chinese
卧室里
people
头
don't
不
put
会
huge
放大
mirrors
镜
in
子，对不对？
bedrooms.
华
Chinese
人有个
believe
说法，
placing
这
a
个大
huge
的镜子
mirror
对着
before
自
the
己的
bed is a
床，
bad
就最
idea.
难看的
Imagine
是
you just
你
woke
起来
up
朦
and
朦
want to
胧
go
胧
to
上
the
厕所一看，
bathroom.
怎么
On
还
the
有一个自
way,
己？
you saw an
就是
image of
因为
yourself.
那个影像吓一跳，或
Maybe
者还
you
以为
thought
鬼
it
来
was a
了。
ghost.
尤其是女
Women
人，比如
tend to
像大
wake
门
up
梳
with
头的
very
时候，
messy
其
hair.
实是
You're
你自
shocked
己
by your own image.
啊，就吓一跳，哎，就觉得不舒服，啊，本
Because
来
of
还
the
可以睡
fear,
觉，结
you
果因
end
为这
up
个镜
not
子吓你
sleeping
一
well.
跳，
You
接下来
can't
的
sleep
半
the
宿睡
rest
不
of the
着，睡
night.
眠了。嗯，那
So
么
the
镜子
image
里的
in the
自己，
mirror
就
not
能吓
only
到别人，
frightens oneself
有时
but
候也能
also
吓到自己。
others. A
那么解
person
释的人呢，就是
explains
说，
to a child
它
it
是
isn't
假的，
real.
你为
Why
什么
be
害
afraid
怕？
of something
好，
unreal? Issues
问题
arise.
来了，
The
通过
scared
镜子吓
person
唬别
gets
人的
severe
人，
backache due to the
把别人
fright.
吓坏了。被吓的一个人总是腰痛，
The
就把
one
他
who
告上法
scared him
院。
is now being sued. The
他虽然没有
plaintiff
打我，
claims,
但 是
though
因
he
为他这
didn't
样
beat
惊
me,
吓我，
the
真的
fright
是腰
caused my
痛得不得
severe
了，
back pain.
我
The
上不了
plaintiff
班
can't
了，
work and
生活都不方
inconveniences
便，
arise in
所
daily
以我
life,
要
so
求
he
他
seeks
赔偿我
compensation for
工资
income
和医疗
loss
费。
and medical bills. The
吓唬人的
defendant is
人
suffering
本来
from
是
his
开了个
own
玩笑，
joke.
解除
Unable
不
to
了，
be
就来找
liberated,
我。
he comes to me.
师傅，你看
Master,
看
it
我
was meant
其
to
实
be a
无意中
joke.
开玩笑，我就
The
吓
image
唬
in the
你，
mirror is
那
not
是
a
一个假
reality.
象，
It
那是
isn't
镜
the
子里的
real
我，
me.
把他吓坏了，他好
Yet
像
he
真
was
的是吓到
horrified.
了，
He's seeking
让我赔偿，
compensation. I
而且
know
他
his
工资很
salary
高
is
啊，
very
是律
high,
师，
based on his daily cost.
哎，每天工资我也不知道多少，
I
尤其
have
是
to pay
好
a
大一笔
large
费
sum
用，
of
好
money.
的房子
Even
卖
if I
掉了也
sold
赔
my
不起，
property, it'd
还有
still
医
not
疗
be
费，
enough. The
这
medical
种是
bills
精
will
神性
break
的
me.
创伤，没完没了的要付费的呀，对不对？
Mental
精
illness
神疾
can't be
病是
adequately measured.
用任何科学仪器查不到的，他
If
只
he
要说有
claims
病，我就
against
得赔
me,
偿。
I'll have to
啊，
compensate.
他说
It
无底
never
洞啊，
ends, so I'm in
对我
so
好
much
痛苦
pain.
啊，我
I'm
用假
suffering
象
from my
骗人，
cheating him with
对我很
illusions.
痛苦。
How
遇到
should
我
I
这样
help
的人，
him
我怎么
liberate
样
from suffering?
去让这位来向我这里求救的人，让
When
他
he
得到
seeks
解
my
脱呢？
help, I
我会
always
统一
commit
逼自己，
myself to
我现
helping.
在
I
我也
wouldn't
想
have
不
a
出主意，
solution for him right
我
away.
就说
I'd
不
tell
用怕，
him, don't be afraid to pay. It
偿还
doesn't
这笔费
matter.
用哈，没关系。你
You're
今年不是
50
50
this
岁
year?
了吗？
In 50
50
years,
年之后，
I
我估
guess he'll
计
have no
是
energy to
有力
fight
气
in
打官
court,
司，也
and
听不
neither
清，
person will hear and speak
也无
clearly.
法表达了。
The
关键
key is
是，
whether the
向
plaintiff is
索
still
赔的人还
alive or
在不
not.
在人世间呀？
The
我给
truth
大
I
家
try
讲
to
这个原
convey
理
is
是指，
the
我们的
span
生
of one's
命
life and that of the image
和镜子里的那个生命，
in
只
the
是一
mirror
个
differ.
存在的时间上略有差别而已。可是我
Say
们的
our
生命
maximum lifespan
最
is
多活100
100
年，
years, while
镜子
that
里
of the
的
image in
做
the
鬼脸的
mirror
那一
is
刹
3
那，也
seconds.
许是3秒钟而已。
The
它两个
time
时间
difference
差
sounds great,
听起来是很巨大，
but
但是
if you
仔
let
细
the
通过
court
打官
case
司的时
drag
间，
on,
东推一推，西推一推，找个理由，
in
再过
50
50
years
年，
there will
那
be
可
no
能
court
了，
case. No chance
就
for a
没机
court
会打
case.
了。就是
So
我
the
们这个生
existence
命
of our
本
life
身，
is not
它的
absolute.
存在不是绝对的，
Since it isn't absolute, we can say it's not surreal.
不太真实的。
My words are also not absolute. Our life, events and actions around them
包括做了这件事情的行为本身
are also not absolutely real.
真实。
The scared person wants your compensation today.
要求你赔偿，
He
并
may
不意
do
味着明
otherwise
天
tomorrow.
他还让你赔偿。
His thought at this moment may not
他此
last
刻
a
的意念
lifetime.
也不是决定他一生的意念。
You both may decide to get married tomorrow. It doesn't matter if the other person is a man or woman, right? You can take this chance to develop a relationship. So instead of compensating him, you may form a family. Matters and their duration aren't absolutely real. Only by seeing through the nature of matters can we be liberated. For many who are present today, we may have at some point in our life, be it yesterday, last year or longer ago, hated somebody intensely. You said, I hate him so much. What did you want to do about it? People's thoughts vary. The intense hatred trapped you in misery and caused you to be hospitalized. Because of the hatred, you refused to make new friends. These are all possibilities. Do you still have the hatred today? If so, is it of the same degree as before? Same as the time when it was at its peak? I'd like you to think about these feelings of resentment and bitterness. Do you still have them 10 years later? As you think now about the inciting event, the resentment in your memory, is it of the same magnitude as 10 years ago? The degree is different. It must have changed. For the more broad-minded, the resentment will all be gone after 10 years. Through time, it's slowly erased from memory. So nothing is absolute. Sometimes upsetting things happen, but they bring us valuable lessons. Whether you're liberated or not, your past experiences, be they of regret, sadness, anger, whatever kind of emotional blow, will bring you good lessons. We'll only take it as a lesson. If the experience is painful, to us, if a young child loses his parents, he is to be pitied, right? But the child usually becomes strongly capable of supporting himself. Children whose parents are alive, especially those whose family is well off or wealthy, may not develop such ability. Has anybody read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I haven't read the book. But if a child has rich parents, when growing up, he'll eat the most nutritious food and attend better schools and have the best education. He may grow up to be polite and understanding, a child of normal ability. But such a child might not be resourceful, creative. Once his living environment suddenly takes a turn, he loses his money. If his house and the wealth inside it burn, though the monthly salary still exists, He'll feel suicidal or that there is no way out. He'll be less able to handle such a crisis compared to a child from a poor family. So even though our experiences were negative and painful, they provided us with valuable lessons. Although we'd rather not experience those painful events, they're valuable to us. What I'm conveying here is this. For us to see through and let go of things, we must first understand the true nature of matters. First, the emotions arising from events may be painful. But as time goes on, in 5 or 10 years, when we look back, it's actually a happy, good thing. As for me, I'm very grateful to heaven that I come from a relatively poor family. It gives me the motivation to work hard. I'm not claiming that I'm a genius. I'm not. But because of the environment, we learn to work hard, accept responsibility, and think for ourselves. If everything is arranged nicely by our parents, we become less motivated. Our brain isn't challenged, and we may be a little stupid or unable to withstand pressure, think clearly or judge wisely. Many of our potentials are stimulated and developed by our living environments. I'm quite interested in the States. I've learned some American scientists are doing a study in a New York zoo on young tigers. As we know, tigers are carnivores. When a tiger approaches its prey, it presents its majestic nature and cold blood. A tiger, the king of animals, doesn't eat dead meat. If the prey is already dead and rotting, the tiger avoids it. A tiger eats fresh meat. How fresh? Meat that is running. This is the nature of tigers and leopards. Scientists took a zoo tiger to the African plain. This tiger ran slower than a boar. It was unable to capture its prey. It stopped running after a while. The scientists dared not let it roam freely. They brought it back and threw some chickens at it. It captured the chickens. I guess these chickens had been given local anesthetic. The tiger captured and ate them. This tiger was of the same breed as those in the wild. But in a zoo environment, especially an American one, it was better fed than humans, right? That tiger doesn't need to work for its food. He's well treated, never abused. So it moves very slowly. Living in such a comfortable environment, it won't survive in the wild. It won't be able to capture its prey, such as deer, goat, horse and boar. Given 2 tigers, with the patience of the scientists, one tiger was stimulated and guided to live in the wild. It took 2 years of training this tiger before it relearned its innate ability to hunt. The tigers were of the same breed. without any difference or imperfection.
它不是它的品种不好啊，同样的。
There is a
我们人的
parallel
资
with
质也是同
humans.
样，
Under
所以在不
different
同的
circumstances,
环境下，
those
好
from
环
better
境
environment
得
have the
到最
best
优秀的教育，
education,
知道最
consume
好的
good
饮
food
食，
and
接触
diets,
的人也
interact
更
with
高贵
higher
更文
social
明。但
status
是这个
people,
人
may
长
not
大
be
之后，他
growing
不
up,
一
and
定
have adequate
真
life
正有
skills.
自我生活的谋生能力。因为
Because
生活
life
不
is
是
never
我们
smooth
想象的那么
sailing.
平静的，是吧？就
Say
像你
you
今
have
天
a
交一
partner
个
today,
男女朋友，
and
两
then
个
you
人一分
separate,
手，
the
如果
deeper
爱
you
这个
love,
一
the
分
more
手的时候，
intense
有
the
的人根本神
suffering.
经病了。
I
在
guess
座我
that
看因为
10% of the
这个
audience
感情受刺激的人仍
were
占
slightly
1/10
upset by breakups.
啊，是轻微刺激的。
About
严重刺激的
35% were gravely
35%，
upset.
曾经为情感
8%
想
had
自杀的
suicidal thoughts
8%，
because of breakups.
啊，
The
这是很
rates are
高的一个
high,
指标。
right?
哎，
People who have
是吧？第一次
suicidal
想自杀
thoughts
的，
during first breakup
等以
will
后
not
恋
feel
爱第
much
10次
after
分
the
手之后，
10th.
什么感觉都没有。
You
分
might
手之
even
后
have
多
more
吃了一碗
food
饭，
after the
哇，
breakup,
太痛快了。
overjoyed, right? This is
对不对？
called
这叫美名
immunity.
利。
In
但是从
terms of
情感来说，
emotions,
说多
another
一次分手，
breakup
我们
may
听到
sound
的都是好
unpleasant,
像是不愉快，但
but
是
the
他的
person's
生命力
vitality
加
has
强了，对不
improved,
对？
hasn't it?
啊，
With
生
an
命力加
improved
强了，他说明
vitality,
啊，这个本来这个世界就是
he can
结了以后
accept
只有
union
一
and
个结，
separation.
啊，
He's
习惯
used
就
to
好
it,
了，是
right?
不是？到
After
第
50
50次的时候，
attempts,
什
he'll
么
not
感觉都
feel
没
too
有，
much about it.
是
You're
不是啊？
still
你
in
正在睡
bed
觉，
when
你
the
跟他
other
走了，
party
走吧，
leaves.
不
You're
送了，
leaving? Okay.
有
I
空回
won't
来
see
哈，
you off.
有
Do
空回
visit
来
when
坐
you're
坐哈，
free.
咱
We're
都是
friends
朋友
after
嘛，
all.
至
At
少
least
能一
we
屋
lived
住
under
嘛，
one roof. We're
还都是
still
朋友。
friends.
你
You
家
open
开
a
商店
shop,
见了
you
面还
can
能打
offer
1 折
her a
是吧？
discount. If she
都
pays
是
a
这样，
visit
都是
as
朋
you're
友，
still
都
friends,
就不
no
烦
more
了。
affliction
所以
left.
爱
The
的
deeper the
越
love,
深，
the
恨的
greater
越
the
重。
hatred.
除了自己
Besides
伤感，
sadness,
还
there
有
will
嗔
also
恨
be
心
hatred.
啊！不要
Forget
说去
about
他
a
的商店
discount
去
at
打
his
折
store.
扣，他不
It'll be
打死你就
strange
怪
if he
了，
doesn't kill
对
you.
不对？嗯。所
But
以到
after
第
the
50次
50th
分手了之后，
breakup,
见面还得
you'll
打
give
折
him a
扣，这是啊。
discount. He was your
曾经是我男
ex-boyfriend,
朋友，
so you'll
打
give
九
him a
折，
10% discount. A
不是我男朋
non-ex
友
will
打
get
8
a
折。
20% discount.
哎，
You
多少
still
一个
take
报
some
复一下
revenge, right?
啊，有
There
就
is
没有
no
感
more
觉。
feeling.
我们
Let's
现在
put
先不管
aside if
情
the
感的合理
emotions are
性啊，
sensible.
不要去思考情感的合理性，而
We'd
是指
rather
我
talk
们的
about
心
our
和努
ability
力。
to live
所以我
life.
们当
When
经
we
历了负面
experience
的东西，
something
不一定是
negative,
坏
it
的
may not be a bad thing.
啊。
Right.
对，
In
中国北
northern
方
China,
种
people
一个小
grow
麦，
wheat.
通常
Normally,
是
it is
到
planted in
秋
autumn,
天、秋天，
after
其
the
他的
harvest of other
庄稼能
crops.
够收割之后，
The
再来播
harvesting
种，
period is summer of
明
the
年
following year.
夏天收获的小麦种子，就是
Say, if
比
I
如说
plant the wheat in
2013年的
2013's
秋
autumn,
天播种小麦，到
it'll be
2014
harvested
年
in June to
6、7
July
月收割。
2014.
我在
I've
很小
known
的
this
时候，
since I was a
我就知道
kid.
这件事情，
I
啊，我
used
就
to ask the
问
adults
那些长辈们，哎，
why
为
they
什么
planted during autumn.
等你播种完了之后，到
When the
秋天
weather
它
is
不是
not
很
too
冷的时候，
cold, the
那个
wheat
小麦就开
usually
始
starts
纷
to
纷发芽。
germinate.
这是土地嘛，它就
When it
长
has
出来
grown to
了，
10
直勾勾
centimeters
分
high,
盖，
the
通常就
weather
开始
turns
下雪，
cold and it
天很
starts to
冷，
snow.
温度是
Temperature
零
is
下
below
几度，
zero.
那
The
个
snow
雪甚至
covers the
把
wheat
这
fields.
个种小麦的这个地都给覆盖了。
I
那
used
麦
to
苗我
worry
就
the
担
young
心都给冻
shoots
死
would
了，
freeze to death.
长
The
了我就说
adults
不用
told
担
me,
心，
don't worry.
不用担心。我
We
们
want
要
the
的就
cold to
是
stimulate the
让这个
plant.
冰冷去刺激它，
In the
明年
coming spring, these
开春之
plants
后
will
它
grow
能
much
更加
stronger.
茁壮的成长。而且
Such
这
wheat,
样的小
when
麦，
made into flour,
等将来我们丰收之后，做成面粉，咬
is the
到嘴
best
里
tasting.
才是最香的。
If
如
the
果这个
wheat
小麦没
didn't
有
go
经
through
过
the
这个
harsh
寒
winter,
冬，这种严冷之后，没有
without
经
the
过这个温度的
stimulation
这个
from the
历
cold
练，
weather,
就少经了一次这种寒冷的刺激，
it
那个小
wouldn't be
麦
as tasty.
我们在咬到嘴里的时候，吃着不香不好吃。
Among writers, I most admire an author
啊，写书的作家，我最佩服的是
who
最
is
近
from Europe
也
or the
是
United
欧
States,
洲的还是美国的，
who
想分
writes
享未来
science
的
fiction
一个
about a
世界的
futuristic world.
说
Her
到第
fourth
四本
book
书了
is called
书名叫
Divergent.
Divergent，
Have
很多
any
英
of
文
the
朋友
English
看过
speakers read the book Divergent?
看
Anybody?
过
It's quite
这个就很奇
interesting.
特
The author was 24-year-old. Her novels became popular and were made into a series of movies. You may want to read it. Divergent.
分歧者，
It's about people with different ideas and thoughts.
思维观念的人啊。
The novelist, at only 24, was able to write so
很
well.
好的书。
Why
但是
am
我
I
为什么这么
surprised
觉得
and full
惊
of
讶和赞
praise?
美呢？
What could a
24岁的人经历了
24-year-old have experienced in life?
只是经历了
Probably
很少
only
而已
schooling. Without much life experience, of ups and downs and obstruction,
和酸甜苦辣。
but she was able to write so well and produce bestsellers. People love them. It's quite remarkable. A good piece of creation, be it artwork, book,
好的
story,
书籍啊，好的故事啊，甚至于好的
architecture
建
or
筑设计
fashion,
好的服装设计
requires the creator's
我们
life
的年龄
experience.
的这个经历之后，
The
我们再做
creation
出的
will be
作品
more mature and
更加
perfect,
成熟完美啊，
offering
有
things or
让我
knowledge
们
that are
值得
worth
思
pondering
考
over.
或者是必然要吸收的那些知识。
A story or a novel must have captured the essence of the life experience of the author.
精华融在这个故事里面去的。
Without this life experience, yet able to write so well, this person is extraordinary. So regardless of our experiences,
我们经历的
ups and downs, good or bad,
啊和酸甜苦辣，
they're very valuable to
他
us.
们宝贵。
Don't avoid them as they're valuable. Hence, our present judgment
今天此刻我们判定说
on a
这个事情是
matter,
好
be
的
it good or bad.
还是不好的。
At
此刻
this
的感觉
moment,
这个
whether
事
we
情的
feel
发
this
生
event is
是
sad or
悲
not.
哀的还是不悲哀的？那
In
么
2 years,
2
we
年
might
以
have a
后
different
我
feeling.
们对这种当时情绪的这种反应，
It
可能
may be
更是
the
相反
opposite
的
or at least be
或至少
different.
是不同的。
Nothing
任何
is
事物都不
absolute,
绝对
even the existence of
就连
humans.
人生存在这个世间，
I think life is not so
它
real.
是并不是那么真实。
Some scientists or astronomers have boldly imagined
大胆的想象，
the
他说我们
existence
今
of
天
our
这个太
solar
阳系
system, the Earth,
这个地球的存在，包括
including the
人类的这些发
development
展
and survival of the human race, our individual existence,
有可能我们的存在和产生，我们的喜怒哀
happiness,
乐
sadness, sorrow, and joy
都是
are
就是一
like
个
a
连续的
continuous
电影
movie, not a reality.
并不真实。
Even the
就连这个太阳系的
existence of
存
our
在
solar
有
system
时
is
候
an
是一个
illusion.
幻觉。
Has
我们听说
anybody
过这个
heard of
言
this
论吗？
opinion?
对
The
这个太阳系
existence
的
of our
存在
solar system is
好比
God's
是
illusion,
神的一个
not
幻觉
real.
不真实。所以今
Today,
天你
your
正在痛苦
excruciating
着，
pain
因为这个痛苦，你极力的痛苦，
may
也
be
许是不必要
unnecessary. Let me
我举
give
一
an
个例子，
example.
有
A
一个
man
人
lost money in business.
他做生意呢赔钱了，
He
向朋友
borrowed
借
$10
钱
million from his friends
1000万，结
and
果做
lost
生意
it
做
in
不
his
开了
business investment. He
好
was
痛
in
苦。
pain and under a lot of
压力
stress.
不
He
想
had
没什
little
么钱。
money left.
他做生意
Initially,
赚了
he
几
had a
百
couple
万，
millions,
又
but
一
he
想赚
wanted
更多的
more,
钱，又向
so
朋
he
友借
borrowed
钱，
from his
做了
friends
1000
and
万投
invested
资进
$10
去，
million,
结果
but
事
it
情
failed.
没做成，
The
钱
money was
可能
put
压
into
在建
property
筑上，而
development.
建筑
He
又卖
failed
不
to
掉，
sell the units upon
赔
completion.
了。你在
Such
世界各
stories
国都有
abound
过这
all
种
over
事
the
儿。
world.
做
Many
房
have
地产，
ventured
结
into
果把
real
地也买了，
estate.
房
They
子也
bought
盖了，盖
land
完
and
了之后
built the
没人买，
property, but there
赔
were
了之
no
后
buyers. As
走
a
投无路，
result, he
有
lost
人
his
介绍，
money and was
要
in
我去赌
despair.
场，
Someone
你
recommended
这
he
家伙
try
这么
his
聪
luck
明，
at the
你的数
casino.
学
On
简
top
直
of
天
being
才，
smart in general,
这
he
是你
was
怎么那
also
么
a
帅？
genius in mathematics.
想
Good
想
looking
十
as
八
well.
岁
Why
借，
don't you try your luck? There was
这
no
没
way
出
out
路。
for him.
我说的很简单，可
He
能这
was
个人给他
enticed
诱
for
惑
a
了几
couple of
天。
days.
这
Subsequently,
样
he
我
went
们
there
先
to
去看看，
observe. He
观察一
borrowed
下，
several $100,000.
借了几十万，去到赌场，一
After
观察了
3
3天
days
之
of
后，
observing,
哇
he
呀，
exclaimed
我
that
终于
he'd
找到
found
一
a
个可以
place
发
where
财
he
的
could
地
make
方。
a fortune.
因
At
为
a
赌场里有
casino,
各
there are
种各样
many
的赌
gaming
博的方式，
methods.
他
He
其中
found
看到一
one.
种赌博方式，他叫
Smart as he
算，他的
was,
头
he
脑
made
很
some
聪明，
calculations. He concluded this gaming method was a sure bet. After 7 days, he won $20 million. With $300,000, he made $20 million. Would you like to clap or cheer for him? Hold on. The interesting part is coming up. He told his wife about it when he went home. His wife said, "Oh, my husband is the most blessed man. Heaven will look after you." The wife continued, "My dear, your good blessing might be linked to my grandma. She used to give offerings to Buddha, burned incense, accumulated virtues. Essentially, your blessing was brought about by me." The wife started expressing, "I'm the source of your blessing. Although money was given to you, it was brought about by the merits and virtues accumulated by my ancestors." My chanting played a part too. She started thinking about how to spend the new fortune. Good friends started to congratulate him. From a loser to winning $20 million, the story seems like a fairy tale. He's like a gambling god, winning $20 million. Poor friends previously all came to him. Even the debtors came to say, "You don't have to pay me back. We're good friends." When a person is rich, it's easier for him to borrow more. Debtors even write off the debt. It's really strange. Such a glorious result through gambling made him, 7 years later, lose approximately over $200 million. The gambling debt he accumulated recently was caused by the $20 million he won earlier. At the time when he won that much money, everybody cheered for him. He didn't foresee the pain and sorrow that ensued. It's hard to clear this debt. There are lots of things happening today at this very moment. That is at the right time and place, in this exact time-space, and so it happens. Say, I make money. I'm happy. Our mood and feelings are delighted. We feel confident and proud. Anyway, it's happiness. Say, right now, I lost money. I was this gambler. Through a friend's recommendation, I went into a casino. I borrowed $300,000, but I lost all the money. I became sad and sorrowful. After that, I decided I shouldn't go to the casino anymore. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? Good thing. Yes, this is a good thing. Thus most, not all. Things that make us feel good at this moment may not bring us a good result. At this moment, things that bring us negative and painful experiences may bring us long-lasting peace and happiness in the future. Thus, all our attachments, based on such foundation, can be taken as fake or relatively unreal. In Chinese, shu doesn't mean empty, but existing. In Chinese martial arts, the front fist exerts faux power. When I hit, I'm actually using the real power of the other fist. The fist in front is faux power. Also for standing squat, the front leg is slightly bent. With faux power, while kicking uses the real power of the back leg. Hard to tell if it's real or unreal. Many things are interchanged between the two. What makes you happy may be drugs. What gives you happiness and pleasure could be hell. So I went to a casino to experience the gambling life there. I sighed because the person who paid for our hotel room was even accompanied by me, an auspicious person. Yet he lost $200,000 that night. I haven't seen him again since. I tried to contact him several times, but he was too embarrassed. For 7 to 8 years, he has avoided me. But I felt guilty too because the room that I stayed in was offered to him as a VIP privilege by the casino. This VIP is very ignorant person, don't worry, they don't understand. Well, he became a sorrowful loser. I stayed in that room and had a few bowls of free noodles. The cost was put in his name. VIPs had a free room and meals, so I felt guilty. He told me if at 5 a.m. he was still at the casino, that meant he'd won. If I was unable to reach him after 6 a.m., that meant he'd lost. He lost in the end, as he predicted. He'd check with me if he went out. I felt responsible as his master. When I leave my house, should I step out with my left or right foot first? I said, the highest state is to step out with both feet. Jump your way out. Since you don't want to live better. He even asked which pair of glasses he should wear, black, red or blue frame. I said, no need for glasses or frame, just 2 red eyeballs. He was so detailed and attached at that moment. He is quite a nice person in general. At times, when people take the wrong path, their obsession is strange. People tend to be more attracted to bad things. When he has noodles in the store, he is reluctant to order side dishes. He said, don't order, it's wasting money. If his secretary ordered extra pickles, he'd be angry for the day. Yet he withdrew $200,000 and lost it all in a night. How could he be not furious? Although he was rich, he led a low-profile life. He continued wearing his worn-out shoes rather than buying a new pair to save money. However, he donated his savings to that casino. It's indeed funny. Life is full of myriad states. Why is this so? Ignorance. Ignorant, hence fearless. They have no knowledge of truths, unable to see through to the truth. So he had the nerve to do what he shouldn't have done, to make himself suffer, to turn a rich man into a pauper, and to make a high official a prisoner. This is what an ignorant man would pursue. I said so very clearly, but he wasn't thinking this way at that moment. Success and more success. So to be truly serene and free, we should see through and analyze matters in the world. The way to analyze is to take a long-term view. At this moment, I lost my money and I experienced sadness. From a long-term perspective, did I really lose money? I should avoid this place. I'm unable to win in gambling. He failed to see through this and challenged the casino. Eventually, he failed. I've met some students in Vancouver and they told me they didn't want to live anymore. I asked, why? I gambled away $10,000, $20,000 to $50,000. I want to commit suicide, drive off a bridge or jump off a tall building. I advised them, don't do it. These things are indeed attractive at times, so we should begin to see clearly. The present suffering may not be a bad thing, but the present happiness could be. So I leave you an assignment to ponder over. It's not a question but for you to contemplate. If there is a chance for this teaching to be posted on the internet, you might like to download it. Very important. Whether you're learning Buddhism or Taoism, or neither of them. If you don't want your life to be afflicted by bad things, and you don't want to be a pauper, but rather have a blessed life, please pay attention and listen carefully to our chat today. If we want to see through matters and let them go, We must first understand their true existence and nature.
所以
Let's
回到
revisit what Grand
禅学
Meditation
大
Master
师释迦牟尼
Sakyamuni
佛
Buddha
所
said,
说过的
Form
色为
doesn't
空
differ from emptiness.
空为
Emptiness
色
doesn't differ from form.
就是
Emptiness is
色就是
form and form is
这是
emptiness.
心经里的
This is
话
from the Heart
就在这里
Sutra. It was written this
就
way.
是这样写到的。
Yesterday,
昨天我给大家
I
讲到
mentioned,
说
when
我
I
在
go
深
into
入
a deep
禅定的时
meditative
候
state,
就
it's
好
as if I
像
return or belong to
寻找到了，或者是归属到了，
the
或者是
beginning
回
of
到
the
了
universe.
宇宙起源的那个起始点，
I
去感
perceive
受
time space,
时
the
空，
moment of
去
creation,
感受创世纪的那一刹那，
and
再
the
去感
revolving
受
future of
整
whole
个时空的
space-time.
未来是运转的啊。
I won't talk about the unpleasant part. Nevertheless, the human race keeps
不
developing.
断的发展的。
But
但
whatever
是事物的本
development,
相，无
the
论怎么
truth of
发展
matters
都是一
remains
样
the
的。
same.
所以讲到这
Mentioning
里，我
this,
必须
I
给
must
大家
read
读
you
一
an
段
excerpt
心
from the
经
Heart
啊，
Sutra.
你听
Try
得
to
多少
catch
听
as
得多
much
少
as you can.
啊。
This
如
set
最
of
容易
classical
给
sutras
大家理解的，就是
is
我们这一
easiest
部
for you to understand.
经典的合集。
Bodhi
经
Meditation
典
Sutra Collection.
Ah,
It contains 4 sutras.
啊，
The
经
most
中最
essential
精
and
华的，
simplest
也
is
最
the
简
Heart
单的
Sutra.
心经，观自在菩萨，行深般若波罗蜜多时，照见五蕴皆空。照见
Perceived may mean through
也许观察到
visualization.
也许
Maybe
在
in
那
that
个
deep meditative
禅定之
state,
中啊，
it's
好
as if some
像
profound light
有某种神
manifests,
圣的光来显现了，说
saying
这
everything
一
is
切
non-existent.
都不存在，
Thus
度一切
overcame all
苦厄
ills and suffering.
舍利子，
Sariputra. It is
它
a
是一
life
种
state.
生命的状态。
So what is
舍利子呢，
Sariputra?
也
It
正是描
describes the
述
true
事
nature
物
of
本相的
matters.
时候啊，
Form
色不
doesn't
异
differ
空，
from emptiness. Emptiness
空不
doesn't
异
differ
色，
from form.
色
Form is
即是
emptiness.
空，
Emptiness is form.
空即是色。
The same is
色
true of
想
feeling,
行
perception,
识
volition, and
亦
consciousness.
复如是。
Sariputra, all dharmas are
是
characterized by
诸法
emptiness.
空相，不
There is no
生
arising,
不
no
灭，
ceasing, no
不
defilement,
垢
no
不
purity,
净，不
no
增
increasing and no
不减，
decreasing.
是故
Therefore, in
空
emptiness
中
there is
无
no
色，
form, no
无
feeling,
受
perception,
想行
volition,
识，
consciousness,
无
no eye, ear,
眼
nose,
耳
tongue,
鼻
body,
舌
mind,
身意，
no
无
form,
色
sound, smell,
声
taste, touch, or
香
mind
味
object.
触法，
No
无
I
眼
realm,
界，
until we come
乃
to no
至
realm of
无
consciousness.
意识界，
No
无无
ignorance
明，
and no
亦
ending of
无
ignorance.
无明尽，乃
Until we
至
come to no
无
old
老
age
死，
and death
亦
and no
无老
ending of
死
old
尽，
age and death.
无
There is no
苦集
suffering,
灭
no
道，
origin or
无智，
cessation of
亦无道，
suffering, no way. There is no
亦
wisdom
无
and no
所得
attainment
故，
whatsoever. Because there is
菩提
nothing to
萨
be
埵，
attained, the
以
Bodhisattva,
般若波罗
relying
蜜
on
多
prajna
故，心
paramita,
无
has
挂
no
碍，
obstruction
无
in
挂碍
mind.
故，无
Because
有
there is
恐
no
怖，远离
obstruction,
颠
no
倒梦
fear,
想，
and
究
far
竟
beyond
涅槃。
confused delusions, and reaches
三世
ultimate
诸佛，
nirvana, all Buddhas
以
of
般若
past,
波罗
present,
蜜
and
多
future,
故
by
得
relying on prajna
阿耨
paramita, have
阿
attained
耨
supreme
多罗三
enlightenment.
藐三菩提。这就
This
是
is the
真正
true
的经典
content
内
of the
容。
sutra,
在
which
这
is
里
very
和
similar
我
to
刚
what
才
I
讲
spoke
到的
about
内
here.
容相吻合和贴切的内容，我在这
Let
里
me
给大家稍
explain
稍描
further.
述一下。
May
请
I
问大
ask,
家
what are
什
the
么叫
5
五蕴？
aggregates?
是色
Form,
受想行
feeling,
识，对吧？
perception, volition, and
我们不要
consciousness.
说
Right,
远
let's
在
not
天边的
only
话
talk
题，
about
这
spiritual
些都是
matters,
指
these
人
are all
和我
referring
们
to our
的
body's
意
senses
识
and
和感受
consciousness. Form
啊，
means
色指
physical
的形
existence.
啊，或者一个事物，或者叫存在啊。
Feeling
受
refers
是
to our
感受，
senses.
比如
Say
我
what
看
you
到，我
see or
听到
hear.
了，我
You
闻到
smell
了，
and
我
touch.
触摸
All
到
these
了，
are senses.
是感受。
Perception
想是
means
思考了，
thoughts. Volition
行是
is
行为，
action, the act
识
of willing.
是思
Consciousness
考
means thoughts
和
and
反应。
responses. Form doesn't
色
differ
即
from
空，
emptiness.
空不异
Emptiness
色，色
doesn't
即
differ from
空，空
form.
即是色。
Form is
所以说，
emptiness. Emptiness is
用我
form.
们
To
刚才
better
讲的这
illustrate
些
these
概念来
concepts,
说，哎，
there
阴
is
中有
yang in yin
阳，
and yin in
阳
yang.
中藏阴，
In good, there is bad, and bad could bring out the good. I tried to explain this earlier. What we assume to be good may not be good after all. What we assume to be bad may actually be good. Sometimes it's like this. The key is what wisdom we use to look at matters.
智慧来看待这个事物。
When we see through things, then we truly let them go. What Sakyamuni Buddha explained here are various aspects of matters. Given the mindsets of ordinary people, we aren't able to judge properly. It's difficult to judge between the good and the bad. What is seen as good today may not be good. What seems bad today may be good after all. How can we have the right perception?
但是在什么方面来体现呢？
Through your senses, perceptions, actions, and consciousness.
你的灵感意识之中都存在这些东西，包括说我这些感觉。
When I'm meditating, I feel very comfortable.
现在我感觉好舒服啊。
What about tomorrow? When you meditate, do you try to pursue yesterday's comfort?
坐禅之中的那种好舒服。
May I ask if this is right or wrong? English speakers? Wrong, it's wrong.
Wrong， 这是错的。
You're insightful, very wise.
智慧。
So today, when we meditate and experience comfort, our natural instinct is to pursue it tomorrow.
明天我还这么做。
Such pursuits are wrong with regard to enlightenment. You feel comfort in meditation today and seek it tomorrow, once you have this desire to pursue good feelings and comfort.
舒服和美妙。
You'll surely not become enlightened. Because when you start to pursue such comfort,
舒服的感觉，会因为你所追求的这种感觉，
this feeling will create a type of spirit.
一种精灵。
To describe in my own words, it will become a spirit or
或
devil
者是妖怪
that draws you to it.
你追求舒服的那个方面，
In the
最后一定
end,
会让
you'll
你
be severely
重
hurt.
重地受伤。
The
所以
comfort we
追求
talk
舒服
about
者，就是
is not
我
the
们现在说的
conventional
不是
kind,
服的哈，
like that of
按摩舒服
massage or
了
touch between lovers.
情人在一起感受触摸什么很舒服啊。
It is the comfort we
就是 我
experience
要
in
休息我都
meditation.
很舒服。我
If
要
that
追
is
求
what
这个
you are
部分
after, you will
一定
deviate
会走歪的。
and
不
won't
能
be
见
able to see the truth
整
of
个自
natural
然规律
laws.
的真相。一定是错误的。
If so, are we then
那退一步来说，
pursuing suffering?
如果是这样的话，难道我们就追求痛苦吗？
May I ask,
难道
are
我们
we
要追求
pursuing
痛苦
suffering?
吗？
What
那
are
追
we
求什么？
after?
是
Desirelessness? Doing nothing? We should pursue a macroscopic vision. A great goal is liberation. This is what you should be after. Liberation is also enlightenment. Hence, we shouldn't be pursuing those good feelings,
美妙的感觉，
nor
也不要
seeking
说
physical
反过来
suffering or
那我就
self-punishment.
用体罚自己的方式，我
To
让
gain
自己来开悟，
enlightenment, that is
那一定是错
definitely
的。
wrong.
所以
Some
有的
might
人说
pursue
我要为了苦
enlightenment
修，我在
through
苦中
painstaking
而得的觉悟，
meditation,
所以
such as
我只有
meditating
一
with
条腿
one
站
leg
立，
standing,
我
or
只做
sitting
了
on
蹲快
ice. You'd probably end
最
up
后就是说你
frozen
没有觉悟，你已经
before
变成
attaining
僵尸了。
enlightenment. We can't
所
go
以
for
我
the
们不
extremes.
能两个极端的追求。要
You
知道
must
自
be
己追求
clear
的
on your
真正的
ultimate
那个目
goal.
标是
What
什
is
么？
it? That is
是觉悟。
enlightenment. What is
那什么是
enlightenment?
觉悟呢？明白
Understanding. A classic answer.
也很经典哈。你
You
说
answer,
大
speak
声说
loudly.
放
Let
下
go
我
of
执，
self-attachment.
放下我执你
You're
这个人很
profound
高
and
深莫测
mysterious.
放
What
下
does
我
let
执是
go
什
of
么？
self-attachment mean? A
是得
wine
走歪吗？
glass? As Master said, pursue bigger goals and give up smaller goals. Not bad.
不错，不
Worthy
错
of a
值得奖
prize.
励。
Very good. It's to pursue bigger goals. No attachments to smaller senses. Let the insignificances occur naturally. No deliberate intention to hold on or pursue. This is the most important. In the Chinese classical novel Journey to the West, JinBodhi always dwells on trivial matters. When arriving at a place with many beautiful women, he said, "Master, let's start a family there." All right? Here are so many pretty girls and limitless wealth here. We can be the bosses here. Why keep suffering on our quest for Buddhist sutras? Isn't it our goal to have a better life? We can amass fortune without having to travel far, while we are searching for our greatest goal. On the spiritual path, we encounter many things we attach to, such as the feeling of ease and comfort. Or during meditation, you feel the sweetness in your mouth. I hope to have this sweet taste again. Or, my skin is smooth and glowing. So I'll keep practicing to maintain my beauty. As a result, your skin may age faster than anyone else's. Because you've forgotten the original goal you pursue. Whatever you pursue will certainly hurt you deeply. To forget the great vision on your path is a big mistake. You should have understood what I've said, right? Because it's a concept. It's really not easy to describe. Usually we may understand it, but it's hard to convey it. Now we understand our attachment to good or bad. On all matters will affect our emotions and perceptions. That is wrong, the attachment is unreal. This unreality has almost blinded all humans. Almost all the children, especially those growing up in a Chinese family, experience strict parenting. It's common for boys to be spanked by their parents. Those who were spanked before, raise your hand please. Parents spanked you because you were mischievous. When being spanked, you must have felt terrible. You feel good when being praised. Children who are frequently spanked sometimes lack creativity when growing up. Some of them become absolutely obedient. Relatively, the benefit is they tend to conform with society. Those who were spanked must have resisted and felt defensive. But those mischievous boys, without strict parenting, might have taken a devious path. Perhaps they wouldn't live such a good life today. So although you felt angry and defensive then, you should thank your parents for being strict. In China, either during the Qing dynasty or the modern day, there was a very unusual event that happened. A criminal was sentenced to death penalty because he had committed multiple homicides. He was caught and convicted. He was to be beheaded. Before his execution, he asked to see his mother for the very last time. The judge granted it, as it was his final wish. In China, convicts sentenced to death are normally allowed to have a feast before the execution. The mother went to see him. There was already a crowd at the execution spot. The son spoke, "Mother, I have a last request." "What is it?" the mother asked. Breastfeeding was very common in China before. "Mother, may I have your breast milk for the very last time?" "Yes, of course, my poor son," said his mother. When the mother offered her breast, he bit off a piece of her flesh. He said, "Mother, I hate you. I'll be executed today."
在这里被砍头，
When I took this bad path,
在我走上这个坏道路，
why didn't you try to save me and
我
intervene
拼命地
earlier?
把我挽救回来。
You could have scolded me, caned me, used any form of punishment.
也不
So
至于
your
儿子
son
今
wouldn't
天
have
变成
turned
这样
out this way. I'm still so young, but
这
I'll
么
be
年轻
executed
就
for my
有
sins.
罪过。
So I hate you. The mother also died. I suppose she was not bitten to death, rather, she died of anger. This story spread throughout China for a long time. That's how I heard it. It's a true story. So we must learn to see through the good and the bad. Today's discussion is see through and let go.
叫做看透放下。
If I were to add a few more words, they'd be so that we can enter a deep meditative
进
state.
入禅定。
If we
如果我
don't
们
see
没有
through
把
to
这
the
个道
truth,
理看透，
even
我
we
要安
say,
静
I
啊，
want to be
你凭什么
peaceful,
安静得
it's
了
hard
啊？
to achieve it. If you
你
can
能够
meditate for an
在这
hour
个坐禅1小时里头不去
without
看手
looking at
机，
the phone or
不去
SMS,
看短信，
it's
已经
pretty
很
good
够
already.
意思了。啊，
Say,
好，
you
你这
meditated well
修
for
了15
15
天，修得
days.
很好
After the
吧？
retreat,
身体
your
好
body
快乐
felt
呀。
great. But
遇
when
到
you
工作的
encountered
烦恼，
trouble at work, or
家庭里
unhappy
人
interactions with family members,
在和你接触当中，一定
anger
会有
bubbled up.
不可能都是快乐的事情，一定还有
Afflictions
烦恼
and
和矛盾产
conflicts
生。
still arise in
你
life. You
又
begin
开
to
始
get
发火
angry
了，
and start
你又开始
attaching.
生气了，你又开始执着了，你
You may
甚至是
even
又
start
开
to
始去赌博
gamble.
了。你
You
说我
might
经过
say,
禅
through
修之后，
meditation, I've
我
gained
的
a lot
灵
of
性大
intelligence,
增，所以
so
我
I
去
can
赌博的
gamble
时
like a
候，
gambling
像赌王
god.
一样。
I
啊，
can
我
now
能
see
看透
through
这个牌，
cards.
这不是
It's
有
an
利于打麻将
advantage
对不对？
when playing mahjong,
所以
right? So
为
in
了
order
能
to
够在
win
赌
at a
场赢，所以
casino,
我
you're
努力来学
practicing
禅修。
meditation hard.
啊，对呀，
Your
你努力的
intention
方
is
向是对
wrong.
的。所
So
以
you
要
need
看
to see
透
through
这
worldly
个
matters
世
to
间
the
事物的
truth,
真相，
and
你
then you
才
could let
能
go
够把原来特别执着的，
of
但
those
是应该放
things
下
you
的
are
事情
attached
去
to.
放下。
Without
看不
seeing
透
through
这
the
个事情，你
matters,
怎么
how
会
are you
放下？
going to let go?
什么
What
东西
would
才
you
能
let
放下？
go?
不
You
好
should
的、
let go of
坏的、是垃圾的，你才能
broken
放下或
stuff
者
or
扔掉，对不
garbage,
对？
right?
但
But
是在
within the
真理面
truths,
前，
you may also have to
你
let
放下
go
的也许觉得哇，
of
这是
those
富贵，
wows such as
这是
prosperity,
财富，
wealth,
这
wonders,
是美好，甚至
even
这是
if it
爱
is
情，
romance or love.
这是爱，你
You
可
may
能都
also
要去
have to
放
let
下。
go
别
of
人
what
认为
others
最
consider
美
to
好
be
的
the
东西，
finest and most
对。但是
desirable.
当
When you
看到事物
recognize
的
the
本
true
性的时
nature
候，
of
才发现，
matters, you'll discover that
大
the
众追
finest
求的
things the
美好的东
masses
西，不一定
pursue
是
are
真
not
美好啊。
necessarily good.
所
It's
以
only
我
when we
们
realize the truth
把这个道理看透了之后，我
that we
们
can
才
let
能
go of
把
all we've
大
been
家
clinging to,
所执着的东西放得下，
so
放得
that we
下，
can reach a
我
light
们
and
才能
calm
够
state.
有一种清安的状态啊，
With
在
a light
清
and
安的
calm,
心灵
liberated heart and
啊，
mind,
解脱的心灵，
we
把一
naturally
切
let
身上
go
的
of
负
our
担
burdens.
自然的就放下了。我
With
们才
that,
能
we
做
can't
到
walk
踏
on
实
snow
无憾，
without
也可以
trace.
在
That is, we
雪
walk
上
on
走
the
路
snow
就
without
留开
leaving
脚印。
footprints.
这
This
是
is
形容
merely
词
a
啊，这是形
metaphor.
容的，也
No
没有
one
人是这
walks
样
like
的
this.
啊。我
So
们
we
才
can be
能不
without
被
pressure or
这种
confinement.
压力把我们给捆绑住。
The
学习禅
eventual
修最
goal
终
of
的目
learning
的，
meditation
就
is to
是
attain
就是
ultimate
让我们
freedom
得
and
到最终的
happiness.
解脱和快乐。如果
Without
不解脱的
liberation,
快乐
happiness
是
is
临时的，
temporary.
你
One
此时
moment
追
you
求
get
乐，
happiness, the
明天
next
就
will
会
be
得到苦，
suffering.
知道吗？
They
看起来
exist
真的
in
是对
opposites
立
and in
矛盾的存
contradictions.
在的。我
I'm
所好的
direct.
这些，就是我
This
所
is
理
my
解的。你
understanding.
凡是
If
追
what
求
you
乐的，
pursue is happiness, you'll
你
surely
一定
suffer
会
pain.
感受苦。但
You
是我
also
要追
pursue
求苦
pain
的，
through certain
在某
actions,
种行为上追求苦，
but
反
you
而也许是
actually
得到了
attain
乐的。
happiness.
某
Take
种苦，
meditation as an
比如说
example.
我在这坐禅的时候，
As you
一
just
开始做的
started
时候腿
meditating,
好
your
痛
legs
啊，
will hurt, and your
腰好
waist will
酸
feel
呐，
sore,
我要
but you
坚持，
persevere. Learn to
我要坚持，
persist.
坚持。 学会坚持。
If you meditate continuously for 400 hours, your happiness and wisdom will be
你的智慧
incomparable.
没有人可以比。
You
你
may
就
even
可能
become a
成为这个
sage.
世间的圣人。
So
对，
we need to
所以有着
persist
苦
despite
我
some
们需要
pain.
执着，但
But we
是
should learn to
更
let
多的
go
乐
of some
要
happiness.
学会放下。不一
This
定
may
是
not
抛
mean
弃，
discard
至
it.
少可以
If
看
there is a
如果
beautiful
此时
flower
这里有
here,
一朵非常美丽的花朵，我
we'd
们看到美丽
admire
的花
it
朵
and
啊
let it
真是
go,
美啊美，
right? You
欣赏
let it
完
go after appreciating
就
it.
放下了，对不对？你
You
不
are
可能
not
说今天是
supposed
禅
to
堂放
steal
一
the
盆花，我
flowers
真美，我
home
我
from the
我搬回家
meditation
去。
center, as you find
对
them
不对？
beautiful,
哎，
right?
所以
It
我们
isn't
不是
that
不
we
接
don't
触美
see
了，
or
我们也
appreciate
不是
beauty.
不许不会审美了，
In
这是
fact,
更
we
会审美。
appreciate it
但
more.
是
But what is the
这一切的
relationship
美好的东西和
between me and
我
beautiful
和我
things?
这个人之间的关系是什么呢？
It's
我不
about
值得
not
于
being
自得，
attached to owning them.
这这个
This
很
is
好，
very
把回
good.
家去。
I'll take it
这个
home.
很
That
好，
is very
我搬
good
回家去。
too. I'll take it
那个
home.
很
I
好，我
can't
搬
take
回
that
家
good
去最
one.
好
It's
写上我
better
的
to
名
write
字。
my name on it.
这
All of
是
us attempt to own
我
more.
们所有的人都在企图去拥有更多，
A feeling
那
of
种拥有的
ownership.
感觉。就
If
是
we
虽然
can't
搬不
bring
回家
something
去，
home,
也
we
希
still
望
like
把
to
我的
have our
名字
name
写
on
上
it.
去啊，
At
甚至我在
least we
精
own
神
it
上去拥
mentally.
有它。哎，当
Once
是
we
有
have
拥有，
ownership,
就会
we'll
有
have
失
loss.
去。
The
凡是
ever
追求
pursued wondrous
美
happiness
妙幸福，
may
就
bring
可
affliction
能
and sorrow.
你的代价就是烦恼和悲哀。啊，你
To
想
reap
获
more
得更多的
benefit,
利，
we risk losing money.
就有赔钱的危险。
For
要获得
greater
更大的
profits,
风险之力，
the
就有
danger
倾
of
家荡
bankruptcy
产的
lies
危险。
ahead.
啊，所
Knowing
以
the law
他
of
在矛
unity of
盾统一
opposites.
之后，那
How
么
do
你
you
怎
view
么看待
matters?
这些事物？
Only if we see through to truth of the matters and let go of attachment. Can we obtain ultimate liberation and happiness? We always hope to leave suffering and gain happiness. In Chinese, the views on leave suffering and gain happiness
嗯，
vary from
我是觉
person to
得
person.
只进行了不同的人有不同的讨论。
In the
第一个
first
阶段，
stage,
我
we
们先
learn
学
to
会离
leave
苦。
suffering.
在离
After
了苦
leaving
之后，
suffering, we
而
can
能
enjoy
自得其乐，
happiness.
就
We're
我自己
relaxed
自
and
然
at
自
ease.
在的，我
I
觉
feel
得
we're very
都
happy.
挺幸福的。
Say, I
比如
was
我在这座
meditating.
谈，
A
有小朋友
child
问我，
asked, Master,
师
are you
傅，
happy?
你快乐吗？
I
我说
said, Not
还
bad,
行，
I'm quite happy.
啊，也挺快乐的。哎，
You're happy.
你快
Is it
乐，
because you
难
ate
道
candy
你
while
一边
meditating?
坐禅一边吃糖吗？
I replied,
没
No.
有。
He
他说我
said,
吃
I'll be
糖我
happy
才
if
会
I
快
have
乐
candy.
啊。
I
我说
said, I'm very
我
happy
坐
just
在这儿
sitting
就很
here.
快乐。哎，
The
这个孩子
child's
的父亲
father
过来
came
问，
over
哎，
and asked
师
me,
傅啊，
Master, you've been
你
sitting
坐在
here
这
for
儿
a
这么
long
久，你不
time.
孤独
Are you
吗？
lonely?
我
I
说我
said,
孤
I'm
独就是
happy in
快乐。
solitude. Don't you feel
你坐在
chilly
这儿不
sitting
寒
here?
冷吗？我
I
因为
said,
寒
I'm
冷我就
happy
快
because of the
乐。
chill.
他
His
老婆
wife
说是
said,
动
he
物
has
小孩。
brain freeze.
对，
We
所以
define
他们我
differently
们
what
对
is
一个
good or
好与
bad,
不好、快
happiness
乐
and
与烦
affliction.
恼定义不同。啊，还
Many
有
immigrants
从
from
我
China,
们
Hong
中国啊、
Kong, or
香港啊、台
Taiwan,
湾这
Asia's
个
most densely
亚洲人口
populated
比较密
area,
集区哈，
to
移民
Canada or
到
the
加拿大
USA,
啊、美国，
especially
尤其到
those
加
to
拿大的
Canada,
这人，
have
好多
suffered
人过来说忧
depression
郁
after
症，对
they
不对？
immigrated.
忧郁症，
Right?
那
Why
为什么呢？
depression?
说
One
我
said,
就在
When
我
I
们的
stared
窗
out
户
the
里往外
window,
看，看
for
到
a
整
whole
整一
day,
天
I
过去
only
2
saw
个
two
人。
people. In
如果在
China,
中
there
国
would
呢，
be
瞬
200
间就是
people
200个人就过
passing
去。
by every moment.
所以
So
在
in
中国、
China,
香港、
Hong
台湾
Kong,
的
and
麦当劳
Taiwan,
哈，
there are more
比鸡窝都
McDonald's
多，
than chicken
到处
coops.
而
They
离
are
得很
located
近
within
啊，
50
50米
meters
一
with
个麦
each
当劳。
other. Why?
为什么呢？麦
Because
当劳忙不
McDonald's
过
are
来
always
呀。
busy.
50
Even
米一个
50
麦当劳
meters
到中
apart
午
at
头，
noon,
每个
every
麦当劳在那
McDonald's has a queue
排队500人，
of
500
at
人
least 500
啊，
people.
排那么多人。他不
So
是
a
要发
man
财
was
累
not
得慌啊，
exhausted
数钱数
because
得
of
累得慌，
working
感
too
觉胳膊
hard,
都
but
酸了
because of counting too much
啊，
money that
这个钱
caused
都
his
算不
arms
来，
to soar. There was more money to be
这
made
人
due to
太
the
多了。
huge
那么，
population. After
所
I
以到了
moved
这儿 来
here.
之后，
Many
好几个人才
people
问我
asked me if I
孤
felt
独
lonely. My response, I'm very happy. I'm so lonely. Why? I have no relatives here. I said, you don't have to worry about lending money to others. I have no friends here. You have no one to bother you. You don't feel lonely at all? Ah, this is preciously rare solitude. Loneliness makes you sick. You forget what the Chinese emperors call themselves. I'm the loner, I'm the boss. You need to enjoy solitude. Solitude is a concept that exists in the spiritual mind. Solitude was the feeling the emperor enjoyed. Why did he call himself the loner? No one has the same mental state as mine over the world. It's like that of the sun. There is only one sun under this sky. I am the one and only, and that's why I'm lonely. Nobody can understand my mind. That's why I call myself the loner. Being alone is not that nobody cares. Rather, there are no common interests. I discuss world events, yet you talk about spinach. You talk about cooking and sewing. Nothing that I'm interested in. Solitude, it isn't a bad thing. Rather, it's whether you can enjoy solitude. When you're with many people, be it in the office or at home, you have to learn to live with the chaotic mess. Even when you're rushing to the office and find only one sock, no big deal, just wrap the other foot in a handkerchief. Think about your great-grandfather, he never saw socks. He still became your great-grandpa. You've gained freedom. Do you know this? Don't be too concerned over trivial matters. Thus, we create our own perceptions of matters. I can only guide you. Regarding this mental state and understanding, there is nothing absolutely bad or good in the world. Even if there is, it's people who perceive so. A few years ago, I used to visit Burnaby Mountain Park in this city. I went there to enjoy the North Shore Mountains. Very often I came across cars decorated with blue and white flowers driving up the slope. The people wore white and blue yarn too. I thought they were there to say goodbye. Finally, someone told me, Master, they're getting married. Why do they use blue flowers during a wedding? Different customs, Master. You're like a country bumpkin. Finally, I got used to those blue flowers for a wedding. Now, I am here in Taiwan. I don't know why they're carrying white flowers, blue or even red flowers. All inclusive. It was a melting pot of Eastern and Western culture, regardless of the color of flowers. I would ask, is this a farewell or a marriage? You have to clarify first. I've encountered so much sensory stimuli. Don't use your preconceived ideas to judge matters. Say, if you're back in China to attend a wedding, dare you give blue flowers as a gift to the couple? You probably won't live to see the sunrise tomorrow. Perhaps this is our Chinese customs only. In some Western countries, blue flowers represent happiness, so the flowers become happiness, so it's people who determine. Whether something is good or bad. It also depends on the person's cultural background, traditions, customs and history. These shape our perceptions. Some issues are more straightforward. Say, a father passed away from an accident. This must be bad news, right? Not necessarily. If you're already 80 years old, is your father still alive? Assuming we're 80 years old today, our father has already gone, right? It's only a matter of whose father will leave first. But we have deep feelings about this. We certainly choose existence. At this center and to this hall, A few years ago, a lady from the USA came. She was in her late 50s, almost 60.
快60岁。
What her illness was severe depression. What caused her illness? Her beloved father. She had only one elder brother. Doting on her, her father had managed her life since birth.
从出生再到长大读书，
From her going to the States for further study, to finding a spouse,
结婚找对象，
to buying a house and looking for a job. He hired someone to take care of her remotely.
花钱雇人帮他办好。
She came to see me 10 years after her father passed away.
不幸去世了。
He died of cancer at a ripe old age.
也是到了该走的年龄了。
He was very old when he
长寿
died.
的老人去世了。
But the
女儿
daughter suffered depression as a result.
得了深度忧郁症，痛苦欲生。
Overwhelmed with grief. Do you know
大家知
why?
道是什么原因吗？这个女
How
儿
did
的
the
病
daughter's
是怎么来
illness
的？
occur? Too
父亲
much
给她
love
的
from
爱
her
太
father.
多了。
Her
父亲
father
是
was
一
a
个
very
很
compassionate
慈悲的父
father,
亲，但
but
是
he was not a
父亲
wise
不是
father,
有智慧
right?
的父亲，可以这么说，对不对？没
He
有去
didn't
刻意
nurture
培
his
养
child's independence.
孩子独立飞行、独
To
立
make a
谋
living
生
and
独
to
立
survive.
存在的能力。
Regardless of how much love, how
多
close
么
they
爱
were.
多么亲。
It is love between two generations. One person has to go first. It's important to deliberately cultivate, appropriate out of home experience, to gain exposure to life outside. Sooner or later, children will have to fly independently. Don't let your parents pave your path
给
for
你铺
you.
路搭桥。
So
所以为人
parents
父
should
母
have the
者应该
vision
有这样的眼光，培
of
养
training
孩
their
子的独
children
立
to
的
live
生
independently,
活能力。
and
甚至还
also
要
give
给
them
他
confidence
对
to
生
live
命
life.
生活的信心。要学会顽强
Tenacity, the capability
还
to
有
make a
谋生
living.
能力、交际
Interpersonal
能力、
skills, life skills, and the
生活
ability to
能
work.
力、工作能力。
So let me
所以
remind
我
all
应该提醒我们的
karmic
所
bonded
有
fellow
人的同学们
practitioners,
无论
both
男
men
女
and women.
如果
If
您
you
年
aren't
龄
too
还不是
old,
很大的话，都
you
能
should
做
be
到
able to manage well both at
下得
home
了
and at
厨房
work,
入得了厅堂，
and
会
play
玩
on the
电脑。
computer.
对，
When
回
we
家去
cook at
做
home
饭，
after
其实是
work,
调整
we're
我们
adjusting
工
and
作之后的
fine-tuning our
那种
thoughts.
思考，很好啊。给你
Cook
所
for
爱
your
的
loved
人，
ones,
给你的孩子，
children
给
and
你的长辈
parents.
做些饭，把爱
Demonstrate
用
your
行
love
动
through
奉献
action.
出去，表达出去，很
It's
幸福啊。
happiness. The good or bad of matters is not absolute. If we can see through matters, we'll be happier. I'm very casual as I teach this, but I find it difficult to talk about this aspect. Not easy, whether you understand or not. Perhaps you'll want to listen to, or watch this talk a few more times. You'll have a better understanding of the nature and origin of matters. You'll naturally choose wisely. You'll be clear about whether you should attach to a matter or let it go. It's when our thinking becomes one with true spirit that we can achieve serenity. We won't panic or do stupid things we really shouldn't do, because we only have one goal, which is to leave suffering. Our second goal is to gain happiness. It's serenity in solitude, in giving.
独自的那个空间，安享在奉献的那个环境，
And in the
安享在
present world
此时
we
此刻
exist
我必然
in.
存在的这个世界。
Chinese
我
people
们
all
中国人
know
都很
well
清楚，
the
有
phrase
四个字
go
叫
with the flow.
随遇而安。为什么
What does
叫
it
随
mean?
遇？就
Say,
当
I
我
have a
自然
chance
接触到
encounter
这一群人，今
with
天
a
他们
group of
和
people
我
on a
一起共
bus,
同坐这个大巴，可
and
能
we
在
may
这个大巴
spend
上
8
共
hours
同度过8个
together.
小时的时候，
Let me remind you, based on my experience, not to ignore the one next to you, alright?
不理睬旁边的人。
Be sure to say hi, sir, where are you from?
哎，先生您是从哪来的呀？啊，
If he doesn't want to talk, you say, I'm from Vancouver. Tell him your name and say, nice to meet you. Why greet the person? Based on my experience. In case you dropped your wallet on the chair. Right?
忘拿了，对不对？
He doesn't know who to look for. You might encounter robbery, right? If you're familiar with him, you may fight the robbers together. If the bus breaks down, you can help fix the bus. If the bus couldn't move, we'd freeze to death. So we need to accept life as we find it. Abiding doesn't mean not leaving but being in the moment. To live your present moment well, to meet us to be karmic bonded, we need to cooperate. There are various degrees of cooperation, and you need to manage that. To take things as you find them without affliction is not easy.
而不起烦恼，
There are few people who can. Our environment creates many afflictions, disturbing our pure, calm mind. But if you can liberate from such troubles,
解脱出来，
not be restricted by them, and instead adjust the environment to be better, that is wisdom and true liberation. Sakyamuni Buddha said that
佛陀释迦牟尼所说的，
leaving suffering and gaining happiness are two different states. Leaving suffering is the preliminary awakening state. Gaining happiness is great wisdom. When we discuss the final
这样的
state
一种
of liberation and the great way,
和大道的时候，
the energy field in this hall
是变得
expands to be as strong as the way. We're as wise as the Supreme Enlightened Being. Wisdom is the largest energy. The biggest liberation is also the largest energy. So as long as you can listen to this,
只要能够收听，
you'll benefit as much as those present.
获得会更多。
This energy will become tremendous.
哎，
It'll continue to increase today, after listening to today's class. Your illnesses begin to disappear, got it? Troubles begin to disappear, got it? No more craving for food, got it? Greedy people are no longer greedy, got it? Those are in love now, keeping loving. It's not my business. Today's talk will make more people healthy and happy.
更多的人得到健康，得到快乐。
If something bothered you 2 days ago, today, maybe you're happy all day. The trouble naturally disappeared. Have some of you felt this? Yes, there must be some. There is a show of hands. Those who watch today's video will experience this effect. Very special, it's a kind of energy. This energy can be seen occasionally with our eyes. But in most cases it can't be seen. When this energy is present and you agree to this truth, you'll feel this powerful energy. It's powerful enough to allow you to leave suffering and gain happiness. I also cherish the content of today's class. I hope my teachings these days help you leave suffering and gain happiness, the great wisdom.
能增加一点点参考和帮助。谢谢大家。
Thank you. I wish you auspiciousness. Got it.
祝大家吉祥如意。